Good evening, everyone. My name is Deanna Seil, Public Information Officer with the Hill Fire. Welcome, and thank you everyone for being here. We truly appreciate you welcoming us into the community. We'd like to say a special thanks. Good evening, everyone. My name is Deanna Seil. Oh, that's fun. Okay, we good? Perfect. We want to give a special thanks for the Willow Creek Bible Church for letting us use their facilities time and time again. We greatly appreciate it. As you might have seen, the exit is just the way that you came in. You can also have the bathrooms are right out past the kitchen and over to the right. There is also water available for everybody, and if you'd like us to bring you one now, simply raise your hand and we can do that for you. Please silence your cell phones as well as your radios, and if you need to have a conversation, we'd like to invite you to step outside. We have prepared a meeting with an update on with incident information. We will also be streaming on YouTube and Facebook Live, so welcome everybody who's joining us online. At the conclusion of the presentation, we will take questions from the audience, so please hold on to your questions until then. Our speakers, as well as other specialists in the audience today, are happy to answer questions after the meeting is over as well. I'd also like to acknowledge Nolan Colgrove, Lower Trinity District Ranger, for joining us this evening. We'll start off with an operational update with our operations section chief, Carrie Williamson and Lauren Munson.
Good evening. I'm Lauren Munson. This is my partner, Carrie Williamson. So I'm going to start with you folks down here on the southern end. This is branch 4 of our incident of the Hill Fire. We'll start down here on the southern end. Down in Division Alpha, this is Mosquito Creek that runs north-south, and our break is right here for Division Alpha. All this stuff, this has hand line on it, dozer line and hose lines on it, and resources have been plugged in there, and they're mopping that stuff up, and that stuff has been holding, and it looks really good. As we move up towards Spikebuck Mountain, this area looks really good. All this stuff has direct line, which means the line is directly on the fire's edge. Moving up north of Ammon Ridge Road, this spot fire that we have up here, that's been holding for several days now. It looks really good. Crews are still monitoring that and mopping that up. Coming across Ammon Ridge Road, all this stuff looks really good. It's been static and it's been holding in its footprint for the last few days. I'll turn it over to Carrie.
Good evening. As far as the portion up to the north off the 01 road, right where Lauren left off, everything going out towards DP 60, we continue to have resources patrolling and mopping up. We did have one spot fire this evening, about a half acre. Resources were able to get hose and hand line around that. As we come down towards 60, we've got resources continuing to mop up everything along the 6N06 road. As we continue to progress down towards where there's significant activity, folks probably saw from all the smoke the last couple days. We did have some trees yesterday torched out through a bunch of spots across the road, and the fire progressed up towards Sugarloaf. We do have resources on that. This is the portion right where Sugarloaf is. Resources are engaged. We've got direct and indirect dozer line and hand line combination, as well as hose lay going off the 6N06 road, up down the dozer line out to the east that connects to the 5N14 on the southern edge of Sugarloaf Mountain. We've had resources in there all day as well as all evening, and we'll continue that till we have additional containment on that portion. We've been utilizing helicopters all day on that spot fire, as well as fixed wing aircraft with retardant. As we continue to progress down the 6N06 road, we continue to have resources patrolling and mopping up all the way till the road makes a hard dive back to the west, down towards Mosquito Creek, where we continue to have resources mopping up down all the way to Mosquito Creek. The fire is currently 7,050 acres and 14% contained.
Next up, we have incident meteorologist James White with the fire weather forecast.
So good evening, everyone. My name is James White. I'm an incident meteorologist. In case you've never heard that before, I'm a meteorologist that deploys to wildfires, and that I'm here to provide very localized weather information and forecasts that both ensure firefighter safety, but also can help the team plan any kind of strategic or tactical operations. So that's what my role is here. Setting the stage for what you guys have seen now. You guys in early July had a very exceptional heat wave around here. It was extremely long-lived and extremely hot, so many of the stations around the area saw their hottest temperatures ever recorded. That's true for the long-term RAWs up in Hoopa, as well as some of the stations around here in Willow Creek. Following that, you had several pulses of lightning that kind of set us up to where we are today. What we've seen since the fire has been here is it started out with some very strong winds in the early days of the fire that caused some of the early activity you all saw. And as we led into when the teams arrived, there was thankfully a little bit of a weather window there where we had some fog in the mornings, nice marine layer pushed in, and the teams were able to take great advantage of that to make great progress on the fire. Now, the last couple of days have been what I've been calling a weather test when I've been briefing that to all the folks here on the fire, and that's because they've had very adverse conditions to any kind of containment and operation. So it's been very hot, it's been very windy, and that has made some things challenging. Thankfully, that test is now mostly over. This is kind of what I present to the firefighters and to all the folks so they can easily lay out the information. And you can see less red is better. And so if you were to see this yesterday, you saw one column here full of red. Lots of hot, dry conditions. Tomorrow, it's a lot less red. We still have some concerns, some winds that make things tricky, winds going back and forth that can make things pretty difficult, and we're still going to have some hot and dry conditions. But as we head forward here, you see less and less of that. So there's a great window coming up here where things are going to mellow out, not be nearly as hot, get some more moist conditions in here, have much calmer winds that'll bring in a nice sea breeze every day. And that'll make conditions much nicer and more favorable. And that even just continues as we look forward to even early next week, where there's lots of indications we'll get a nice marine push in here. You guys will finally get to see some of that fog again that hasn't been in here for a while. So that's kind of what we're looking forward to, and I'll be here if there's any questions later on.
Thank you, James. Please welcome our fire behavior analyst, Kevin Osborne, for expected fire behavior.
Good evening, everyone. As introduced, Kevin Osborne, fire behavior analyst, working with the team. James really set the stage really well for me with his description of the events that led up to this, because that's what I'm going to talk about first before we get into the expected coming fire behavior. What we have up on the chart here is what we call energy release component. It's a fire danger index that's based on incoming weather information from all those remote automated weather stations, or RAWs, that we have around the state. This one is built on 3 different RAWs stations around here, and it combines all that weather information and gives us this fire danger index. This one is heavily weighted towards large diameter fuels and seasonal trends. So it changes a little bit slowly, and it shows us where we're at for our seasonal fire behavior. You know, looking at the chart, the blue line, which might be a little bit hard to see for some, comes all the way up here. This is this year's line. This other line, this trace here, that's the maximum observed on that day over the course of our climatological record, which in this case goes back to 2005. And we have an average line here. You can see the week and days preceding your lightning event, we're setting all-time records for this fire danger index. That set us up for the conditions that allowed this fire to grow as rapidly as it did in those first early days. Shortly after, we had a nice drop in this ERC value to this point here, this lowest point in this trace. That's what James referred to earlier when he talked about that break we had in the fire weather. Our fire danger indices came down. It gave us that opportunity to go direct on fire and have really successful containment operations and get to the point we're at now. This little uptick right here, that's where we're at today. We saw that increase in fire behavior yesterday, the day before, and again a little bit today. And we can see that the forecast matches James's beautiful matrix and comes down. So this line, the last bit of this line is the 7-day forecast. So that just kind of sets that stage for where we're at fire behavior-wise, which is driven completely by the weather. So it matches really well with that product. So now we've set that stage for fire behavior, where we're at in the season and what preceded. We can get into what we expect for our fire behavior in the coming days in the incident. We'll move back to the operations map for that. All right, there we go. So You guys got a good operational brief from Carrie and Lauren already. You kind of know which parts of the fire are a concern and which parts aren't. We have a lot of containment going on here. There's hand line, there's dozer line. Most of our control features are right there. Our anticipated control features are right on the fire's edge. That means that our biggest concerns for this fire that remain come from spotting and any potential interior burning islands that can threaten our lines. We still have small pockets of interior burning that are going on throughout the fire. Some of them are places where there was an incomplete burn in the past. Some are places where we still haven't quite gotten full consumption. Those do pose a threat. An area like that is where our spot fires came from yesterday. So we're going to keep an eye on those. We also expect that coming fire weather to dampen our fire behavior. We're going to have conditions in the coming days that are going to allow us to continue to take direct action on this fire, work close to the fire's edge, and go after any spot fires that do occur. One of our main concerns in here is that we are in two big parallel drainages, Mosquito Creek and the South Fork of the Trinity River, and both of those drainages have strong winds. So we work with James to look at when we see those peak winds occurring and use our fire behavior models to look at where the spotting locations are most likely to occur and then position our resources accordingly to go after that. So we're well positioned. We have a good idea of what fire behavior we're expecting in the future. Again, that's going to be relatively mellow. It's going to allow us to go after this fire in a direct manner. So I'll be here after the meeting concludes for the question and answer session if there's any questions.
Thank you, Kevin. I would like to invite Ted MacArthur for a message from our host agency.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. Those that are here in person, thank you for coming, and those online, thanks for joining. The key point I want to share tonight is that this effort has been a unified response between CAL FIRE and the Forest Service from the time it started. And the information you've seen was the fire danger index that we had when the lightning storm came through, and we had several starts, and we responded aggressively to all of those. And this one, as you all know, you've lived in this area for longer than I have. It's difficult country, and we can't. Sometimes it's really difficult to contain those and put them out at the smallest in the initial attack phase because of the resistance to control, the steepness of the slopes, and the difficulty in access. And our response was very aggressive from the very beginning, and I'm very proud of the response from our local unit, from the local district here in Lower Trinity, as well as the CAL FIRE Humboldt Del Norte unit, working seamlessly to respond to this fire. And since then, having California CAL FIRE Team 2 and California IMT 4 come in and help us respond to this fire has also continued that excellent and exceptional response. And our commitment is to be here and work on this fire and to keep it contained in as small a footprint as we possibly can. We've had some really great opportunities that we've taken advantage of, and we're going to continue to take advantage of those opportunities. The one thing that I'm going to ask of you all is we're not out of the woods yet. It is early in the season. This has been very robust fire behavior conditions for this time of year, considering the type of winter we had. But it's been hot and it's dry. And it's still July. We've got several months in front of us. So my ask is that you support the firefighters. We have a forced closure in place. That is for your safety and for the firefighters' safety. Please honor that closure so that our responders can move in and out safely and not have to be watching out for folks so we don't have another incident with traffic or other things, so that our firefighters can do their job safely. Again, we're here to support you all. We're committed to this response and to support this community, and I will be here after the meeting to answer questions as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ted. You all probably have been waiting for an update on evacuations. Please welcome Cruz Correa, Law Enforcement Liaison for the Hill Fire, with new information.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cruz Correa. I'm a Law Enforcement Liaison Officer with the Hill incident. If you don't know or you haven't heard the term, law enforcement liaison officers are conduits, and we work with fire management teams to facilitate evacuations and repopulations. We currently have 3 law enforcement liaison officers assigned to this incident, and we've been coordinating since we arrived closely with the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department, as well as the Trinity County Sheriff's Department and the operations section, to coordinate the evacuations and repopulations you see up on the map here today. Other functions of law enforcement liaison officers include coordinating traffic control points and road closures, and working closely with the operations section to allow ingress into the fire zones. I understand there are some folks here tonight that may want to discuss ag passes. I have some information, and I'm happy to answer those questions after we're done for the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Cruz. Before we get to our incident commanders, we're going to check online. Tonight, we also are joined by a special guest, 5th District Supervisor Steve Madrone.
Oh, thank you. I may lose signal here. It's coming in and out, so I'm keeping my camera off to try and maintain. First off, I would. Second.
Well, we did have him for a
I'm
second.
back again. I'm back in briefly. I just wanted to suggest that we all give this group of firefighters and personnel a round of applause. I wish I was there to help lead that, but please, everybody, give them an applause for all the incredible work they're doing. And then I just want to say, if there's anything I can do to help, please contact me. I'm at a fire meeting in Fieldbrook tonight that was scheduled ahead of time. So I will continue to stay in touch with the fire on the cooperatives meeting and come out every day that I can to Willow Creek. So stay safe, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for taking a moment to join us, Steve. We really appreciate it. And now I would like to bring up our Unified Incident Command, Rocky Opliger and Kevin Bohall.
Thank you.
For closing comments.
Again, my name is Rocky Opliger. I'm one of the Unified Incident Commanders, and I personally want to take the time to thank each and every one of you that have attended this meeting to get the latest information that we can certainly share, and an opportunity for us to hopefully answer any of your questions at the end. Also, would like to thank those folks that logged in virtually. That's a difficult task, I know, but taking the time to do that, we do have that opportunity to also answer any of your questions you might send in to us with the excellent group that we have in the back. Number one priority of incident management teams is safety, and we always focus on that, and that is public safety and firefighter safety and emergency responder safety. And so we know the difficult task we put ourselves in when we recommend to our law enforcement agencies that we're going to have to do evacuations, and in this case, actually initiate evacuation orders and initiate warnings. And it is not an easy task. Well, we know and we've seen the kind of fire behavior that we've experienced both here in the Western United States, certainly with the past droughts. It's the public that is the most concerning. And so we appreciate those that adhere to those evacuation orders. It's not an easy task. And we apologize for that current inconvenience, certainly the ones that are in place right now in the orders and the warnings. The second are our firefighters. While we sit in this meeting, we have firefighters that are on that fire line right now, young men and women. When you go to sleep, we have firefighters on that line working throughout the night. And we have firefighters when you wake up in the morning. The fire's being staffed 24 hours. And to me, the true heroes are those young men and women that are out there really putting their life on the line in incredible difficult terrain, just incredibly warm temperatures, not to mention the other environmental issues such as wonderful poison oak. And so we apologize from the teams for our little city that we put in your park. That camp is there to logistically support and take care of all of our firefighters and emergency responders. But I really want to thank the community for the support they've given to the teams and our firefighters. We hear it every day when we talk to them, when they stop at a gas station or grab a cup of coffee, how appreciative everyone is. And we know the effect both within the community and the surrounding communities. So I just wanted to take that time as one of these commanders to certainly pass that on to you.
Yeah, Rocky said a lot of good things there. That doesn't leave me a lot more to say. So great collaboration, and I echo all the comments he had to say too. Understand this collaborative effort isn't just us. You guys are involved in this also towards our success. So we do want to make sure we can do what we can do to get a sense of normalcy back to this community. And that includes, we're talking about livestock, we're talking about ag pass, things like that, making sure that we can get back so people can restore their livelihood and get back to what they were doing prior to this incident.
Okay, thank you, Kevin and Rocky. It is now time for question and answer, facilitated by Thomas Schutz, Public Information Officer. We will be answering both in-person and virtual questions at this time.
All right, good evening, everybody. We'll go ahead and start with the in-person folks.
my partner here, Captain Bacha, is going to be available with a mic. So if folks have questions, go ahead and raise your hand. And looks like we got our first one.
Hi, my name is Mike Belchick, and I live at the bottom of South Fork Road, and I have a lot of neighbors and friends that live up there, and I just wanted to see if you guys could address some. There seems to be some mixed messages. I love Commander Munson's updates on the operations. I love hearing about the fire behavior and what's expected. That's better and different than before. But there seems to be incongruency. All of a sudden, evacuation warnings hoisted, mandatory evacuations for Friday Ridge. At the same time, we're getting really good reports. We've got this sewed up, we've got that, we've got this line blackened, everything. And so I have a big disconnect here. On the one hand, I have very good and optimistic reports, which I love, and predictions of fire behavior. On the other hand, we get 2 new evacuation warnings. We get a contingency line being thrown up on Hennessy Ridge, which is really far from the fire. Appears to be like people are prepared to sacrifice the entire South Fork. So I just wonder, and then finally before, I want to hear about that seeming incongruency here. And then the other thing that I want to talk about, or want you to talk about, is structure, protection, and support for myself and my neighbors. What are the plans for that? I don't really hear anything on that. This is my 3rd fire in 4 years. I've never once, to my knowledge, been visited by anybody, one time, to come take a look at my place, help me understand what I need to do, or help them understand what things I've been putting in place. And I've worked my ass off here, and I'm not certain if I'm going to get protected or not. And I think a lot of my neighbors are in the same boat. They get these report cards posted that look like maybe a F or a failing grade, and then the people just leave. I think, we have a lot of elderly people. We have a lot of people without a lot of income that just need some help. And they need to know that someone's going to be there if these things go under. So when you go under evacuation warning, and then there's not any talk about structure protection or who's coming or what the plans are for that, I'll just tell you, it's a little bit disconcerting here, and I'm hoping you can address that. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you very much for the question. So South Fork, we're looking for some of the overall message inconsistencies with the fire, looking to talk about some structure defense issues, and overall just acknowledging some of the folks up there possibly with access functional needs and stuff like that, and what are we doing. Okay.
Good evening. So great questions, Carrie Williamson. So I'll address it, and then hopefully I get everything. So as far as the additional warnings and orders for today, what that was everything was on the western portion of the 06 road. Yesterday afternoon, we had some trees with some isolated torching. When we had the isolated torching, it threw a bunch of spots across the 06 road, and it made a push up towards Sugarloaf. When it did that, it spotted on the eastern portion of Sugarloaf. Everything within the South Fork of the Trinity it's kind of a difficult place for fire, and it's only because of the winds. And so when that fire crossed over Sugarloaf, we made the decision today based on the wind predictions and the existing weather to put that order in place, as well as the warnings. And the intent for that was we don't want to surprise people at the last minute or have to do it when fire's barreling off the ridgeline. And so the intent for that was to warn all the public within that zone area so they had adequate time based on where the fire was. And so a lot of that was based off the spot we had yesterday afternoon and the existing winds in the weather forecast for today. As far as everything out South Fork, I'm trying to remember when we got here. When we came in with our incident management team on Friday, got in briefed, we started a structure protection plan. The structure protection plan included the South Fork of the Trinity River. We've had individuals out there putting the placards up. The intent for those placards is that we put stuff in what we call field maps. So the intent of that is we can have individuals come into those communities. We know what structures are where, we know if there's water tanks, we know what needs to be done, and then we can implement that work when we need to, and we have the appropriate resource staffing to do that. Right now, we're just not quite there yet because of where the fire is. And so that was kind of the intent for why we had the additional evacs. So hopefully that answers that question. the stuff on Hennessy. So when we were looking at contingency lines going back multiple years, we knew that there was existing lines on Hennessy, and some of the stuff within the South Fork drainage is a little bit difficult as far as existing containment lines. So we were trying to just reopen the existing lines on Hennessy that have been used in past fires. And so that was kind of the intent for Hennessy.
One more question. If it looks like, I feel like I got skipped over at my house. I feel like I got skipped over at my house. My neighbors all have placards and everything, and I feel like, hey, I think they missed me. Who can I talk to? How can I get that addressed?
Tie in with me afterwards.
Okay.
I'll find you. And just for awareness, I've been up South Fork several times, and that was kind of the intent. We've had a lot of individuals ensuring that we know what is where and what needs to be done for the intent of fire. So I'll tie in with you after. Excuse me?
Still will have structure protection.
Yeah, we have a structure protection group, correct. And the whole structure protection group has been really focusing recently on everything that's close to the 06 road and Friday Ridge, everything that would be, right next to the fire's edge.
Thanks, Chief. All right, next question. So,
My name is Anita Bussell. I'm from South Fork. I was evacuated a couple years ago. I will get emotional. I'm pissed off enough to question about what is going on, because I know when the Knob fire that started down here in Willow Creek and it got up there to the Trinity River, that's when they said I had to get out. My family came from Hoopaw. They packed me up and they moved us out. And my thing is because the government, the Forest Service, the fighters, it wasn't the local guys, but the outside forestry came in and let it burn. Oh gosh, it got out of hand. And then I hear about on Sunday where the fire was kind of mellowing out and where it was going through, and then, they did a big back burn and it jumped and it got away. Well, I know that Lewiston burned up so many years ago. I'm sorry, I am 71 years old. I'm not a new kid to the area. That is my home. And right now, our supervisor from Trinity County is not like out there like Stephen is. She's right there. We're talking about the Carpenter Ranch. That's my family. And she's on the evacuation list that is right now that's taking it. The Jurin Ranch that's up there to coming back with it. And I don't know, Mike is right there at the bottom of the hill. And we had, 1,000 it seemed like, but we had several very nice gentlemen that came from out of the area up there to my place, walked around, know where our water tanks are, and coming back through. OES, they weren't firefighters, they were just patrolling through. I have a 93-year-old neighbor that's across the field and up the hill from me, lives by herself. I have an 83-year-old neighbor that does have her grandchildren or her children that are living with her over again across the field. I have another elder, he's 86, another part of it. He doesn't have a telephone, he's not with the cell phone thing. And when I call up there to South Fork today to find out my neighbor, our phones aren't quite in working order and how it fits in. These guys are not Facebook friends. I'm on Facebook, I'm down at the Salyer store, I'm looking at maps and I'm trying to find out what's going on. So I don't know for how communication goes. And I can imagine that 93-year-old lady, my neighbor, isn't even gonna let anybody in the house. I don't know. I wasn't there to having enough with it. I know she's hard of hearing. I know she has poor eyesight. I know she's just up across the road for it. And I don't know where the communication is. And if Mike didn't get anybody through the house, I'm just expressing my concern. And that's why I had to come here tonight. And I made sure I brought my brother with me. He's worked for the forest fighting and everything else before to coming back with it. And I'm glad for firefighters that are out there and that they are doing their thing. I'm very thankful. But I'm also speaking out to saying, put the fire out. And as it is right now, it's like, how can we herd it up and we're going to group it through? And why does there have to be so much fire going? And I got a lot of family up the river that's dealing with Etna. I have other places that there are some big fires. And it's like, we got all of these people here. And we are just in July. that I'm expressing my concern. I saw what the fires did on 299. I saw what they did when they let it burn and it got away. Oops, the fire, we couldn't control it. Whatever. Massive, massive, massive. Gone. And when we had the lightning strikes that were just over the hill, when it was over there at Grays Creek, boom, and I heard about how fast that it was taken care of. Right on 6 Rivers was on the spot. So I don't know exactly, but I had to come here and speak for all of my crew that's not here to say that put the fire out. I'm glad that you got it all brushed out and ready to go, but I heard enough times about the backburn and the backburn that got away. And this is Wednesday, and the backburn, what was that, on Monday? And like I said, I know when Lewiston burned up several years ago, was doing it, and they didn't get the weather right, and it burned out of control. And I don't want my place, I don't want to be evacuated again.
Thank you, ma'am. Frank, sir.
Yeah. My name is E.B. Dugan. I live here in Willow Creek. I'm a little familiar with fire service and the fires around here. One of the things I get asked a lot when we're looking at the different maps is the defining points. They talk about it on the news and stuff, but I think it would really be helpful for some of the local people that are asking questions if you define where the different roads are. Everybody talks about 06, and I just happen to know where it is because I've been up there quite a few times, but we do need to define it a little bit better for the general public so that they know where it is in relation to where they are, because that is the main thing. We see this wonderful map here, but I don't see any defining marks on there other than the river there. It would be nice to say, well, this is the South Fork, this is the main stem, this is 299, this is Friday Ridge Road, this is Ammon Ridge Road, this is Route 1. So those type of things that are major points of interest that people know can relate to where the fire actually is. And I think it would be much helpful for a lot of the people, because I see people looking at it and they walk away in disgust because they don't know where the hell the fire is.
That's great feedback, sir, and we really appreciate that. And we do have some options there. We're looking at an ops map right now, but we do have the public information map that I think does a better job at showing some of the features, but maybe not good enough job. So we'll reevaluate that, and I really appreciate that.
Let them where people can see.
Yeah. And you're right. If we talk a lot in firefighter terms, and these folks have been out on the line all week, so we get very, very familiar and maybe a little bit shorter on it. So we'll definitely work on that. And we do have a different map which shows the different communities a little bit better. It shows the fire line and the perimeter a bit better and how that's coming through. And so maybe we just got to reshape how we're getting that information out and trying to make it a little bit more digestible for everybody instead of just folks who are in the know.
Well, we're the ones that have to leave.
Absolutely. And this is the map I was mentioning, where it actually has the communities, shows a little bit more defining features so you can identify whereabouts you're at. It's got the 299 coming across here, and you can kind of pick the area. The challenge with the larger fires is you have so much detail, right? It's not, if we had a 50-acre fire, we would be able to include all kinds of stuff, but we have to try and fit everything on the map, and so it gets a little bit challenging. But if there's more specific stuff looking at this map that you would like to see, we're all ears. We're the ones putting the maps out in the community and trying to keep everybody informed. So if there's more detail that you want to see, chat with me after, and we'd love to throw it on there. Okay, perfect.
So I just want to talk again, or bring up the topic again of structure protection. And I know that there are strike team or strike teams here. And I know that you have groups that are focused on structure protection, and I'm wondering if maybe you could talk a little bit about what a strike team is, what that represents in terms of people and equipment, and what they're prepared to do, and what they're able to do.
So apologize for the fire talk, but a strike team is comprised of 5 like resources with a leader and common communications. So a strike team could be anything from a water tender, which is a water truck, or different types of engines. Our engines are typed. A type 1 would be more of a municipal style fire engine. Type 2 gets a little bit smaller, and type 3s are what you see CAL FIRE, the U.S. Forest Service driving the most, or a type 6. So that's what a strike team is. We group things up through FireScope and ICS and stuff like that. We group things up for span of control. 5 is the optimum number. That's why we put 1 leader with 5 resources. That's a strike team. A task force can be comprised of many different things, but it's mainly for span of control, so we can keep track of stuff, and we're reporting. 1 person is reporting for all of those resources.
Thank you, sir. And just checking in, do we have any comments online?
So most of them we've been able to answer online.
Okay.
One specifically is for those who are evacuated or in warning, what resources are available, Red Cross, animal housing, and where can people go when they've been evacuated?
Okay, so the question is for those that are under evacuation order or warning area, what resources are available from Red Cross, sheltering, etc. Is there anybody who wants to take that one? Okay, yeah, sure, come on up.
In regards to housing right now, in the event that you have been evacuated, the shelter is not open because there was no interest. However, if you do need housing because you have been evacuated, you can go onto the CAL FIRE incident portal and click on the Hill Fire. Scroll all the way down to evacuation information, and there is a location in Willow Creek for evacuations and a phone number to reach Red Cross. When you call Red Cross, you just let them know that you are in need of shelter, and they will open up the evacuation center for you. The information for evacuation of animals was as well as also on the incident portal.
Thank you, Chloe.
Does Red Cross help Trinity County? Red Cross is out of Eureka.
They're servicing both.
I don't see any more questions out here, but just a quick reminder that we're not going anywhere. So we're happy to break out and meet with you guys afterwards. Oh, we got another question here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to know who's in charge. Who's the fire boss?
This fire is under unified command. So
Yep, but you still have to have one individual.
not under unified command, sir.
Well, 2 individuals from each department, but you have
these
to have
these
who's in
good-looking
charge?
gentlemen right in the corner here.
Okay, that's what I asked.
Yeah. So these 2 gentlemen are the incident commanders for this incident. They're overseeing the entire operation.
Yeah, it goes back to the reference points on the map, which is I don't like that. I asked where specific places are, and they should be on the map. Like the Ammon Guard Station, where is it in response to this? The headwaters of Mosquito Creek. That's where that guard station is. I have no idea in looking at that where that's at.
Understood.
I know all that country. We worked there for years.
Understood.
Where is it? Can anybody figure that out?
Drop point 65. Drop point 65. So I hear what you're saying though. We need more features on our map. If there's specific stuff on this map that you would like to see, let us know. We'll write that down and we'll get that on the updated map. Because I hear what you're saying. We don't have enough reference points, right? We're putting on our operations map. We're putting the stuff that we need to focus on, which is drop points to to get goods and everything like that. And what you're saying is when the public's looking at it, you're not able to quickly identify whereabouts this fire even relates to the regular features.
Where's the old Sims Mountain Jeep Trail? Where's Sims Mountain?
Yeah, maybe we got to pull some of that stuff off the off the typical topographic map where it has some of the off-road.
Well, I know that when they evacuated, my sister was evacuated from our ranch up South Fork on that knob fire. We evacuated her and we stayed there with a number of community people. We didn't have any structure protection from anybody, yet the fire was coming across. I'm just wondering, is it going to be better than that this time? Because that was lousy time that last time, and it was supposedly coming up the ridge from us, but I wasn't about to leave my ranch up there for anybody else.
Understood. It's hard to reference back to things in the past. What I know now is we have nearly 2,000 firefighters out here helping this community, trying to put this fire out, working as aggressively as possible to get folks safe again. So all I can tell you is we are absolutely passionate. There is a great plan to get this thing buttoned up, and we're going to continue pushing away on that.
Especially since you don't have the Type 1 engines are very limited. They aren't going to be up on most of this fire.
Certainly.
So then you have your structure protection, but is it going to be readily available?
Right, and in those cases, we end up swapping out the engines. So we'll have the brush rigs, the four-wheel drive engines go up and do structure protection. It doesn't always have to be the big city engines going up into these areas. Sometimes it works out. We're able to get them in there because we know that they're not going to be able to go deep off-roading into the line. But if it doesn't work out, we switch up the plan. We have plenty of smaller four-wheel drive lifted engines that can get into these communities and take on that structure defense. But I would still love to get any kind of features for you that you would like on the map. So I'm happy to tie in with you afterwards and get that information, sir. All right. Well, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, Chloe.
A few people that just joined and requesting that our ops chief give another explanation as to the spot fires on Sugarloaf.
Okay. Okay. The question was there were some folks who jumped on late. They wanted to have us discuss the situation on Sugarloaf.
So as far as the ops map, to answer your question, the guard station's right up here at DP 65. You got Mosquito Creek. So this is Mosquito Creek, runs all the way up through the center. The One Road, which I think a lot of individuals are pretty familiar. One Road's right on the western portion of the incident. Then you got the 6 Road that's right on the eastern portion of the incident. You've got Sims Mountain, sits right down here. South Fork of the Trinity River runs north to south right here. Then you got 299 up on the top part of the map. As far as the spot fires, so the spot fires, just to be super clear, and I can hopefully use, Kyle can correct me if I get this wrong, but as far as the spot fires, Sugarloaf Mountain sits right here. It's kind of an interesting little feature off the 06 road. Yesterday, right down in Mosquito Creek, we had a couple trees. There was heat underneath the trees. If you're familiar with the 06 and Mosquito Creek, it's definitely not flat. And so the interior trees got some heat established in them. We had some isolated torching. We had increased winds yesterday. And with the increased winds, they threw spots across the 06 road. And then it progressed up towards Sugarloaf Mountain, got on the eastern portion of Sugarloaf Mountain, which is right in here. Limited road access, existing fire scar from 2008, a lot of snags and hazard trees in that area. But that's what caused that as far as that portion. And then something else to hopefully address as well is backfiring. So there hasn't been backfiring on this. And as far as that terminology, backfiring would be if you're sitting up on the 06 road and you've got fire progressing up towards that 06 road. The intent for what you would do with backfiring is kind of a a defensive type strategy. And so if you didn't want the fire to hit the 06 road really rapidly, then you would light fire, and that would be the intent, is to slow the fire spread to the 06 road by utilization of backfiring techniques, which we haven't used any backfiring techniques on the 06 road. So hopefully that explains the stuff with the spot fires.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief. With that, we'll go ahead and conclude our community meeting. Please continue to follow us on social media. We have a page set up just for this fire, Hill Fire 2024. We also have the Cal Fire Humboldt the North Facebook page. We continue to provide updates through those channels. OES and our sheriff partners will provide evacuation information, and then we relay that information as well. So thank you very much for being here. Just a reminder that we will all be here after the meeting, and thank you so much.
Control.